OG1 and Desiree Perez, CEO of ROC Nation. ROC Nation is now in the grease. This is massive. And if you, Tony Busby, if you are Tory Lanez, this is large for you. If you're Jay-Z, this is the biggest no-no in the entire company. You cannot allow this to happen. Hit the like button, good people. Hit the like button, because now all of this misconduct and the things that she's talking about aligns with a lot of the things that they're complaining about and wanting to get the federal government involved in investigating ROC Nation. The photo you're looking at is the daughter of Desiree Perez, and you're going to hear all about it.
A South Florida woman is taking legal action after she says she spent nearly 2 weeks in mental health institutions for no legitimate reason.
She claims in a recently filed lawsuit that it was orchestrated by her own mother, and others who should have protected her failed her.
NBC6 investigative reporter Amy Viteri has her story.
So legally, I can't go home.
No, you cannot.
Why?
Because you're being Baker acted.
Body camera video shows the moments Broward deputies encouraged Demore Hadley to get into this pickup truck with people she says she didn't know.
I can't ride with you and you guys take me?
You're going to be in handcuffs? The dog's not going to be able to come?
No, I don't want to be in handcuffs.
Okay.
Demore says they took her to a hospital for a mental health evaluation after this doctor signed paperwork saying she was a risk to herself.
What he told me was, we received a call from your family that you tried to OD the night before.
A doctor she says she'd never met before. And according to Demore, it's her own mother who's behind it. In this lawsuit, she claims her mother, Desiree Perez, used unlawful means to have Demore falsely detained under Florida's Baker Act and Marchman Act.
So she's the CEO of ROC Nation, a company that she owns along with Sean Carter, the famous rapper Jay-Z.
The complaint alleges a conspiracy, saying Perez used her money, power, and influence to tear apart Demore and her husband, Javon Hadley, and created an enterprise of individuals to effectuate her plot.
To essentially try to separate me from my husband and to falsely accuse him of domestic violence.
Perez has repeatedly denied these allegations in court filings. A month before Demore filed her complaint, we found her mother filed her own lawsuit against Demore's husband, Javon, citing evidence Perez says he has abused her daughter for years, something the couple has denied in court records. In that lawsuit, Desiree Perez says she moved to Baker Act her daughter, fearing she was at risk of suicide and abusing prescription drugs.
I haven't seen anything in my entire 20 years of practicing law that it is so clear that someone did something wrong.
Attorney Hilton Napoleon is representing Demore in the lawsuit, which claims Perez harassed the couple for years, including making unfounded claims to get Javon arrested on multiple occasions for battery and domestic violence, charges prosecutors did not pursue.
The state attorney's office wrote a 11-page scathing closeout memoranda, which basically said that her mother made false allegations to the police.
In this closeout memo, a prosecutor with the Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office cites Demore's lack of cooperation and raises concerns about some of the evidence and how it was obtained. The prosecutor also wrote Demore was wrongfully Baker Acted last year, something her mother's attorney disputes in this letter, challenging many of the memo's other conclusions.
I have 3 different collateral sources of information that say that she's been acting psychotic, that she threatened to overdose yesterday.
Demore's lawsuit alleges her mother conspired with prominent psychiatrist Dr. Daniel Bober, seen here in body camera video, and others to have Demore committed for a mental health evaluation. Bober cites supporting evidence from her family and diagnosed Demore with an unspecified psychosis. He ordered she be taken to Memorial Regional Hospital, where he is chief of psychiatry, and where results from drug tests taken upon admission were negative, according to records Demore shared with us.
They told me your tox screens came out negative, and I go, I know. I don't do drugs.
In a statement, Dr. Bober's attorney said Demore was placed under the Baker Act for 38 hours due to the potential risk of imminent harm she posed to herself, adding failing to take appropriate action would have been a breach of Dr. Bober's ethical and professional obligations. While Demore was at Memorial, her mother further petitioned to have her transported to a different facility under Florida's Marchman Act, claiming again in court records that Demore suffered from severe drug abuse. A judge granted that petition.
They ran the test. They knew that she had no drugs in her system and she was not abusing drugs. And the fact that you can't do anything about it is scary.
Demore was sent to this treatment center in Deerfield Beach, where Dr. Bober serves as medical director.
Where are the people that are supposed to protect me from this happening?
According to her lawsuit, Demore requested a hair follicle test at that facility called Life Skills, which detects drug use for at least the past 3 months, and which showed no drugs had been in Demore. Demore was held at Life Skills until April 8th. She shared discharge paperwork that lists a diagnosis of persistent depressive disorder, which she disputes. No medication was prescribed. Court records show Demore was able to leave that day after her mother voluntarily dismissed the case. But Demore says the damage has been done, and she feels a system designed to keep people safe failed to protect her.
Money, influence, and power should not be something that's used, right, or abused to hurt innocent people.
Perez has filed a motion to dismiss Demore's complaint, asserting that the Baker Act and other legal proceedings she has undertaken were rooted in legitimate concern for her daughter's safety.
The Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office tells us they stand by their memo. Memorial Healthcare says they can't speak about Demore's case because of the pending lawsuit. We also contacted Life Skills South Florida and have not yet heard back. BSO told us the incident involving Demore is now internally under review. Amy Viteri, NBC6 News.
Woo! Now, let me tell you how dangerous this is. I'm going to tell you how dangerous this is now. If you're Tory Lanez, Alex Spiro, the guy that they were talking about, all of the corruption that they were saying with ROC Nation, now they can say, we didn't get a fair trial. Look at what's happening here with Desiree Perez, her involvement in the situation. And this is her own daughter that this happened to. And now it has shamed the entire company, because now she just did an exclusive interview. And this is definitely going to open up an investigation with the feds to pry into ROC Nation. No one cared about Tory Lanez. Okay? He's not big enough for the feds to come in and do now. But now this thing with Diddy, right? And this whole thing with Tony Busby. Tony is a lawyer. Even though he's a lower tier lawyer, he still have connections in New York. Just not as powerful as Alex Spiro and the rest of those guys, but still, he has connections in New York. Now, here's the narrative that I want people to understand here. Not only is that going to be a major problem for all the other people that they have involved there, that's just one of the main problems that they're faced with. They're faced with a slew of other allegations on the marquee, because now you're looking at a situation. If you're Tony Busby, you're talking about the corruption that went on in the investigation of the case, talking about they coerced this woman in her story to recant her story about Jay-Z and the harassment into Tony Busby and his entire layout of everything that he was doing, now it seems targeted. Now it seems like, oh my God, we have a major situation here. Tony Busby's gonna say, see, she's doing that to her own daughter. Look at what she's doing to me. Right? Now, everybody around is going to know one or two things. We have a decorum that we follow. We have a decorum that we like to go by. And what we like to go by is the truth. The truth weighs a lot more than rumors. The truth is, Desiree Perez and ROC Nation, they are dirty. They are dirty. But so is Tony Busby. He's dirty. Here's another thing. Tory Lanez, he did it. He did it. So, 100%, I don't care what they talking about. We got new evidence saying that the girl did it and all that. Tory Lanez did that. And no matter how much they try to swing it, the ultimate story goes back to Tory did it. But they found a way to shame Meg Thee Stallion so that the general public would believe Meg Thee Stallion she's a liar. She lied on Tory Lanez. That goofy did it. He did. Trust me, he did it. Now, what else have we noticed? We've noticed a slew of different situations arising. In other words, there's so many other people out there in the world who just don't seem to understand the whole process of why this is going down in such a fashion that it makes it all look incredibly stupid. You did this to your daughter. She said you illegally bugged her room, which is a federal case. So all of this is incriminating to ROC Nation. And that's why I believe, as others told me, Desiree Perez is gonna have to step down as CEO of ROC Nation. If that happens, that means the Tory Lanez case, the Tony Busby situation, that's gonna raise some alarms. Because this is abuse of power. She doesn't like the daughter's husband, and she's using company resources, allegedly, to get things done. Free Tory my ass. That boy did that shit. Y'all could fall for that if you want to. Not me. Not me. You know what? I'm very glad you brought that point up. Yes, Roc Nation has done dirty practices. They stole Meg Thee Stallion from Carl. So everybody who thinks I'm pro Roc Nation, I am not pro Roc Nation. I'm about the truth. I stand with the truth. Carl, that was his artist, and he was just a smaller artist and didn't know how to fight when someone's trying to come in and take his artist, Meg Thee Stallion, who he helped make hot. And he didn't know how to protect himself from that. So what he decided to do was to go to a different level. And he got James Prince, who knew how to fight back, to get what he was supposed to get out of the deal for making and breaking an artist, which Roc Nation has never done. So, of course, I agreed. I looked at both sides of the story and knew exactly what was going on here, and that Roc Nation was wrong, and that Carl was right. So if I was a pro Roc Nation person, wouldn't I be going in the opposite direction? Because I don't do sides. Okay? Only time I do sides is if I'm eating a plate of food. Everybody be like, there's 3 different stories, but there's one truth. Okay? You can have 15 different stories, but there's one truth. And that's where I like to rely on the truth. And from looking at all the things that was presented, in my opinion, the only person that shot Meg was Tory. Now, as far as this situation with her daughter, Desiree Perez has done a lot of different things. And the artist known as MIA, well, she has the biggest gripe with Desiree Perez and Roc Nation because of what they did to her. She telling you this thing is deeper than what you guys know. And MIA has a child with a guy she met in Houston while signed to Roc Nation. This guy comes from a powerful billionaire family. And she wanted to separate with this man because of his controlling nature, the parents, and everything about the parents. Right? The grandmother or the mother of the husband was involved in a big sex cult, was convicted for her acts and roles in a sex cult, and was granted, this family was granted custody of her child because she was not deemed to be sane or anything enough to take care of her own child, and threatened her visa here in the United States of America. Roc Nation could have that pulled at any moment if she is to stir up any type of controversy. That's right, MIA. So she's basically living a living hostage right now. She's a living prisoner having to basically be screwed up out of her record deal. And she thinks Jay-Z took the money from her billionaire family, father-in-law and all of them. Jay-Z went into business with them. And to work out her situation, they did just that. She got sued by the NFL. This is before ROC Nation joined the NFL. Jay-Z told them she should take the penalty. And she's like, I'm not paying them any money. Because she flicked off the finger during a halftime performance. She threw up the middle finger. She eventually apologized. She was banned, but then her career stalled. She claimed Desiree Perez and ROC Nation used their resources to submerge her down. Claim she's a threat to the country, threatening to have her deported. All of these things to keep her submissive and quiet. She went to court and didn't stand a chance. So now she will lose all visitation and is at risk of deportation. This girl came from a war-ridden country. Her father was a revolutionary, died being a revolutionary. And you going to send this woman back to a country she hasn't been to in years. Y'all stole her song, put T.I. on it, put yourself on it, took Paper Planes, and you did it. Then you took the rest of her songs that she had for her album and gave it to Rihanna. ROC Nation is going to be facing a lot of troubles because it came from within. I told you if this thing was to blow up, it was going to blow up from within. Now, Tory Lanez is an idiot, and he keeps doing bad things and has very bad behavior. And for this incident, he wants everybody to believe people. He's the boy that cried wolf. And they like, well, Meg is a liar. Okay, Megan Thee Stallion is a liar. Okay, I hear you. Does anyone here doubt that Meg Thee Stallion is a liar? But here's the thing. It believes all women always come into play, except for when it comes to Meg Thee Stallion. That's different. No. I heard the trial. I heard his text message saying that this was all his fault. He don't know why. When he called her and he blamed himself for everything, he was like, oh, just the situation. That's what he meant. No, it was about the shooting. And he just wanted to make sure people was keeping up with the story. See, the thing was, and everybody's saying it was Kelsey or whatever. She did it. Her own friend shot her. Why would Meg Thee Stallion be talking to her friend after the incident? See, if you was paying attention to the court trial, you would see there was text messages that went back and forth with her and her friend after the incident. It was only about a week that they stopped being friends. You see, Tory Lanez pulled out the gun. Kelsey didn't know where the gun was. Now, all of a sudden, Tory is trying to say it was her gun, which wasn't true whatsoever. But, you know, he's a felon who can't say it's his gun, and he had it in the car. See, the thing about a liar is they tell so many different tales. First, Tory tells the world, like, you see, she got cut on glass. I didn't do nothing. He came out trying to make publicity off of it when ROC Nation told him to just stop talking about it, let it go away. He's trying to make it to promote himself and use that as a moment of promotion. Mm-hmm. Well, when you look at the main scope of it, like Jay-Z built this with Live Nation. This is really Live Nation all over again. That's why Jay-Z is very uncreative at all. That's why he calls it ROC Nation. You know, he's not good at naming things and things. Creativity has never been his strong suit. He knows how to take advantage of somebody else's creativity. He's a mimic. So whatever someone else does and it works, he'll mimic that. That's why his rap flow was like the Fushnikins when he was rapping. He was rapping like jazz. He wanted to be jazz. Check out the A, check out the A, check out the Y, Z, original rap, original crap, and everybody can say that. How did he do that? How the hell they said he that? Oh, originally roll. I'm like, come on, dog. He was using that style, trying to sound like the originator, jazz. We the originators. He was trying to be jazz. That's how he got Jay-Z. Sean Carter to Jay-Z? Damn, you on jazz. Right. You spelled his name, your name like his, with the jazz, the hyphen, and the O. You got J-Z. Come on, man. You a mimic. Your whole career has been a mimic. This is why you know Jay-Z knows what he is. You know, that's what other people could say these things, but Jay-Z knows what he is. You know, he can't, nobody else could really be fooled, but Jay-Z knows what he is. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't fool, you can only fool certain people some of the time, you know, but he knows what he is completely. And when you have like, it's like having a corrupted file. So Jay-Z is a mimic. He saw how Live Nation worked as a company and how they was doing the tours and the shows, and he wanted to follow that same structure. So he has really Live Nation working for him, but he hires his people to be the face of it. So Live Nation is in the shadows. So it's like, oh, it's ROC Nation. It's a partnership. It's synergy. So it's really Live Nation. That's what you're dealing with all this power and structure. You think Desiree Perez, a former informant for the government, is going to be allowed to have that kind of position in a corporation like that? No. Live Nation did that. Jay-Z put these two people in charge because he knew them from his former life. So OG Juan is put in there from Harlem. He got him there. And it's like, man, all these other dudes you be having from Philly, from Harlem, where your Brooklyn guys at? You claim Brooklyn and Marcy Projects, but Jay was never popping in Marcy Projects. He was never that guy. He became that guy in other places using everybody else. He'll take one rapper from Marcy, and that was Bleak. He was the little guy under me. I was the guy coming up. I'm going to take Bleak. G to K was really with Bleak, and Jay put him on and gave him a spot when they start signing all these other artists. The things went left after Blueprint. When Blueprint 2 failed, that's when all the problems came in. That's when all the problems came in, because really he blamed Dame Dash. And he blamed Guru. He blamed, see, when stuff don't work, Jay turn around and blame people. He's not going to blame himself. Oh, you ain't know that about Hov? I know everything about this dude. I know how he moves. I know every single thing about him. I know people that's done business. Almost everybody that got screwed over by him. He didn't like that somebody had a better hotel than him. He was pissed. Somebody had a better hotel room than him. He called up the the owner, got the owner of the whole franchise that owns all of them, and says, I will never have any of my artists stay at your hotels the way, how rudely I was treated, because they refused to give me an upgrade. It's like, we have no other rooms. What are we supposed to do? Go in there and throw people out of their luxury suites? They have the villas. What am I supposed to do? Throw people out? And they went to another guest saying, this room needs to be evacuated. You know, like, you got to go. We're going to pay you all your money for the room, and we're going to give you another, go to another hotel over here, another villa at the other hotel. You guys have that. They paid for them to go to another hotel just so Jay could have that room. They found one person on the list they could kick out. They sent somebody over there to have that happen, just for Jay. Soulless. Soulless is an understatement when it comes to Jay. Very soulless. Everything is inwards. You'll think he's doing something for somebody because he cares. He does not care. And you have to know that. These people are food. Like Benny Siegel and all these guys, they thought that Roc family, La Familia was like, we're a family. No, this is business, bro. This man cares about him. He has no time for your feelings. This man doesn't care about his wife, Beyonce. He don't care. He cares about his image. When he put that ring on her finger, he didn't say, I love you and all. He said, don't embarrass me. That was his, that was his, that was his doggone way of saying I love you to Beyonce, was don't embarrass me. Putting the ring on her finger, you threatened her to not embarrass you. That's how you say you love. That's how you treat the love of your life. Because she wasn't. She was a product. Dreamgirls was about her and Jay-Z. When Beyonce was playing that role, why do you think she could play it so well? That was her life. Jay-Z treated her like a product. Got her in movies. She was the new Cleopatra. Jay-Z looked at Beyonce as a product. Her father was managing her when Jay-Z was there. Jay-Z made her a superstar. She didn't never have the confidence to be a solo artist. She felt comfortable on stage with her sisters and the people got her back. She didn't want to be on her own. So Jay came in and he's like, no, you got me. I'm going to guide your career. But your father got to go. You know how hard that was for Beyonce to fire her dad? Matthew did it himself. All his women on the side, that other life. Jay had to get that, exposed. Jay discovered the other women. Jay found out all of that through his connections. And once Matthew's life is going to mess up Beyonce's career, oh, you can win over everybody after that. Keep telling y'all, this is a whole manipulative human being right here. You got to understand something. The man is smart, but he's weak. So when you're smart and weak, that makes you dangerous. Weak-minded men who are very smart end up becoming serial killers, criminals, and they hurt people because they're hurt. But it's because they're shallow within. They have nothing. They don't have that connection with the everything and everybody else as everyone else had because they grew up with a hurt. Jay-Z hurt was his father just walking out on him and not saying nothing to him. He was younger and couldn't process that. He was hurt by it. And everybody would go visit dad and everything. He didn't want to go visit his dad. He was mad. So he was staying more to his mom's, not understanding what was going on with the mom. Not understanding why Pops left. He never went and had that conversation with Pops. See, when you're young and you're a boy, you don't really understand why Pops ain't there. Why Pops ain't here? What's going on? Mm-hmm. Well, when people see a different take, like people see different entities all the time. And once they start seeing a different take than what is supposed to actually be there, they start seeing things that don't measure up. Now, Roc Nation is going to have to do some, you know, restructuring. That's not Jay-Z's decision. Jay-Z don't make decisions at Roc Nation. Live Nation does. Remember, I told you, if you was on my Patreon, you've heard the most realest thing I've ever told you. Leor Cohen wanted Jay-Z to get rid of Biggs and Dame Dash, and he said, I will give this company to you when they was getting ready to re-up, saying you don't need them. That's what he told them. You don't need them. They're just getting money for free. You're paying this person this much, and they don't do anything. You don't need them. Mm-hmm. Well, this is the latest. This is the latest blow for them. The Tory Lanez incident where he was stabbed. I don't believe nothing Tory Lanez say. Um, Even though I saw the prison video, that guy was probably paid to do it by Tory Lanez so he can try to get out of jail. I don't think he had 2 collapsed lungs and none of that. I don't believe nothing Tory Lanez say. He probably was stabbing him with a little 2-inch knife. You see, Tory got up and walked out. Well, see, they came through with these 360 deals. Leor Cohen and these guys that he's aligned with. Live Nation is known for 360 deals. They allowed a record label to receive a percentage of all the earnings from the activities. So what he wanted to do was get out of Def Jam contract that he had, because Def Jam was they were never gonna rise back up. The company was pretty much dead. So him not resigning with Def Jam, he had to pay back the $20 million he basically owed him. So he had to find new business ventures and had to have money to fund them. His declining CD sales, and that was the reason of what was going on. And he had, you know, he wanted very much lucrative upfront money. You see, Jay-Z needed to be liquid. And at that time, I'm not saying Jay-Z was broke, but Jay-Z was not where he wanted to be. He didn't have Beyonce. They had broken up. And once they broke up, after he retired, because Jay was still being Jay. Do y'all want to hear the story? I can tell y'all the story right now if y'all want. Hit the like button up. Y'all want to hear it right now? All right. I'll tell you the part when Jay came back from Italy. When Jay came back from Italy, first when he left and went on the trip, he didn't even tell Dame Dash he was leaving and going on a trip. Right? Jay took a break, left, dipped. Right? Ether had just came out. Jay wasn't even hanging with Dame like that. Dame was doing his own thing. He was doing movies, going more into film, doing ROC Nation film and all of these different things, right? Creating other revenue streams. And he was like, man, we already got, Roc-A-Wear, and I'm finna come out with a line that's gonna be state property. We're gonna have two. And so he was working on that and trying to make state property work, which was just a band of misfits Jay just put together and didn't do nothing with them. He was using them all for the promotion of his album, The Blueprint, because they all of them together helped make that Blueprint album pop. So now they all had their solo projects coming out, Chris and Neef and all of them, and the Young Guns, Oskino, State Prop. So Dame was in charge of pretty much making sure that worked. Jay stepped aside at the Blueprint. He didn't really need him no more. So he just stepped away from him. And after that, he was doing his own thing. He goes on a vacation trip to Italy, and he came back, and they signed that deal. They signed the biggest deal in records at that time. They had signed like 20 million up front, and they got re-upped with the Def Jam. So they all became multi-millionaires off the deal. So Jay was really proud of that. Like, we made it. That's why Jay-Z was making so many albums so fast. He was putting out like 2 albums in 1 year. It was crazy. At that time, that wasn't like this. These are CDs going out. Because he wanted to get out the contract quick. So while working on a double CD, because, double CD was the standard then, you got to make a double CD. Double CD is the way you get your money. Everybody got to do double CDs. That's the new push. So Pac made that a norm. So now when everybody was looking around at what was to come, right? What was going to be the hottest thing going and all of this? Nas come out with Ether. Shattered everything that they built. One song shattered all of it. It shattered the corruption Jay-Z had with the radio station at Hot 97 with his power. It exposed it because now you got the hottest record in the world and you got to play it. But Jay-Z is who you got an allegiance to. It's like, I got to play the record, Jay. It's the hottest record on the street. See, that's how you expose payola, corruption, all of it. So Jay was getting mad at Hot 97 for having to play the record. And then they was all happy. Jay-Z had a response record. He was giving it exclusively to Hot 97. They were hyping it up. Angie, all of them was so excited. Then they played the record. And everybody tuned in to a record number. Jay-Z response to Ether. And it was so terrible. Dame Dash was on the phone. He was in like Arizona somewhere. He called up, heard what happened. They celebrating like, yeah, we got him. And Herb Gotti was on the phone getting hyped. Yeah, we got him. I told you, boy. Yeah, that song is a monster. Next thing you know, he was put Herb on the phone. He said, man, Herb, don't you ever get involved in our business again. You don't ever. Dame was so disrespectful. He said it in Dame Dash tone of voice. He was mad disrespectful to Herb. And he flew back in. He wanted to know who put Jay-Z on the air after that. It's like, no, he went up to the station himself. He wanted to clarify. He was like, and ain't none of y'all told him that's a bad idea? He's like, man, Jay-Z's up there, somber, talking about his mama do it. His mama told him, that he shouldn't do the record and that it went too far, and he's almost about to cry on the radio. We look crazy right now. Get him off the air. Like, what is y'all doing? Why would y'all put Jay on the air like that? See, what Dame knows is he's seen Jay in those moments when he's vulnerable. You don't want Jay to be out there vulnerable. And at that time, when you heard on the radio, is how Jay is when he's shattered. And you don't want a shattered Jay-Z on the radio. No one's supposed to see that side of him. He wasn't going to get any sympathy. He was going to get like, oh, dog, look, Ether broke him. So it made it worse. So Jay-Z was like a pariah. So they put out a big budget album. And because of this, Jay-Z blames Dame Dash. James too distracted. See, now look, let me tell you. Dame was too distracted. This is what he wanted. You wanted to be around Leor Cohen. You want to hold hands with him and go do whatever you doing. You wanted to go deal with Puffy and them, and then that don't work, and you come running back over here. If Dame's saying if he's too distracted, then that means you want Dame around. See, Leo was upset that Jay-Z shared that information about he wanted me to, buy y'all out. And that made Dame mad, and Dame brought that to Leo. And that made Jay mad with Dame for bringing it back to Leo when he was like, dude, I was telling you something, you and Big something, just as us three brothers, like it don't leave the room. And then you go take it to Leo, or you took it out the room. That's disrespectful to me, and that show you don't value me. So that's what made Jay salty, because Leo said, I told you some information for your ears only, and you went running back to them, but I can understand you're loyal to them. You feel you owe them. And that's what Jay said. Nah, I can't do that. I owe them. So now he said, you see how they view you. You're their meal ticket. That's all they see you as. But he's like, you'll learn from this. And he stepped back. He's like, you going to do this on your own. So he wanted to do it their way. He brought in Bono. He wanted to do all of these things. So it was a Jay-Z project. The blueprint 2 was Jay-Z doing it his way. Listening to Young Guru and them telling him, man, you got to do a double CD. These songs are hot. This song is hot. You can't be cutting all these songs. You could do a double CD. And he was like, yeah, I'm going to do a double CD. I'm going to make one like hip hop pop. I'm going to have some R&B, some radio, jams and stuff like that. I'm going to have stuff people can dance to. We're going to have some rock. We're going to have some of everything on this album. This was Jay-Z's creative project. Blueprint 2 was his. He got Dre from the West Coast. He went and grabbed some of everybody. He had No ID making them beats because he didn't want to pay Kanye West. So he said, well, I'm going to go get No ID. And brought No ID in to make some tracks. Because Kanye West now is getting a little too big for his britches. So they're saying, oh, okay, Kanye, okay, he thinking he all that, and he's still cool with them Roc-A-Fella dudes. I mean, those Cameron dudes. All right, cool. You cool with Cam them? That's what you want? Bet. Once this happened, the double album fails. It fails in comparisons. It was not selling so much. They had to make a Blueprint 2.1, which just shortened it. And that cost them more money to make, to push out the 2.1 to try to inflate Blueprint 2's numbers up. From a classic 4 mic or 5 mics in the source to a ridiculous, I don't even know what they gave Blueprint 2, but Blueprint 2 is probably a 3.5 star review if I've ever seen it. A lot of throwaway songs, a lot of unfocusedness on the record, and the album just did not hit, even though Hovey Baby is a classic song. Now, Jay-Z, as I told you about his creativity and how it lacks. Well, let's go over the laxing of his creativity. The reason that his creativity lacks is because he just doesn't, he's so involved in self, he can't allow himself to sit there and actually come up with something creative. Everything he comes up with is so bland. Why do you think his albums are the way they were? The Life and the Times of Sean Carter, Volume 1. That was the book of the hustler he knew. He made a book called The Life and the Times of Calvin. You know what I'm saying? So he took everything from somebody else. He just keep taking. So The Life and the Times of Sean Carter, Volume 1. Life and the Times of Sean Carter, Volume 2. Life in the Times of Sean Carter, Volume 3. And then he stopped doing that. And he was like, dude, you gotta show some range. Then the Dynasty album comes out, which is supposed to be a Roc-A-Fella album. Jay-Z flipped that into a Jay-Z album. Started off as a compilation album. Then he's like, wait a minute, I'm just going to make this my album. And then it can help me get out my deal. So they make that into an album for Jay-Z. Then they come out with the Blueprint. When KRS-One already had the Blueprint. Now, after all this was done, there's so much going on with like problems and issues. People are in dismay. There's a lot of pushing and shoving going on in the offices, and no one is really understanding what's going on. Right? Now you got Blueprint 2, Blueprint 3. No creativity, no imagination. But now, since Blueprint 2 fails, what's happening over there? Cam them is involved. Dame is seeing the division. He brings Cam and them into the studio. They working there. So Dame goes out there and Cam says it on the radio that they wanted him to be CEO of Roc-A-Fella. And Dame told him that he gonna be the new CEO of Roc-A-Fella. So Beans and Bleak and all the rest of them, they feel a certain way, like, what? Because Beans didn't rock with Dipset. None of them did. And they felt the energy. They felt the hate when they came in there. Like Cam, them, that's one thing about Cam. They from Harlem, B. They swagged out with fashion. Jim Jones, all them coming in there, Jules Santana. They got all the leather coats with the rhinestones, like custom made. You can't get that out of a store. They would just they would kit it up themselves, but they was not like this. They were buying them like they had their own personal dude that was hooking them up. Like the Yankees coats, jackets. I was like, damn. Dude, they had it swagged out everywhere they went. They was taking too much attention. Coming in the Baseline Studios. They had that on lock. Now, you have a problem. Because when it first jumped off, Cam wasn't getting on board with the beef with Nas. Cam wasn't doing that. He stayed on the outskirts. And Hov and them saw that, and he took that as disrespect. He came home and found out, like, oh, y'all moving different? Then he started working with Cam and realized, like, okay, we got more allies. Then they did the Welcome to New York City with Cam and Jay-Z. That was hot. So it seemed like they was cool. Until Jay-Z vocals was not on Old Boy. And that was probably the first time ever somebody has cut. Dude, you cutting one of the owners of the record label. You cutting his vocals off the record. That's crazy. Even if it's whack, you don't cut Jay-Z's vocals off a record. It's like, what is you thinking? But he was just thinking, like, it just don't fit the record. I'd be like, look, let Jay down the vine. He was actually doing Jay a favor because the verse was whack. It would have just made Jay fall deeper down the hole of how he done lost it. So Cam is a businessman first before he's a rapper. So he see it as a business. Like, I got to protect my artist. That's my teammate. We on the same team. So I'm protecting him. I ain't finna let him come out there and be whack. So Jay and Dame is basically not working together. Dame know that. Dame has nothing to do with the Black Album. Jay-Z's finna retire. Jay come in, he's with Beyonce a lot, more than you've ever seen him before. And he's basically into this mode of I'm stepping away and I'm retired. I'm doing one more album and I'm out. Like, this is it. Well, what they was thinking is Jay finna stay with Roc-A-Fella and work there, and they're gonna put out some other artists. Everybody gonna be straight. Jay's done. So he goes out with the final album, Dirt Off My Shoulder. He was back being Jay-Z. He went and made a perfect album, like a perfect exit album. He got Kanye in there to help. He got Pharrell to come in there and help. Yeah, he had it structured to go out the way he wanted it to go. And said, this is it. And once he walked away, rap changed. Because when he was leaving, 50 Cent was just coming in. So Jay was getting out the way early. Like, he was like, dude, y'all better finish y'all projects because this is going to get crazy. So when the Black Album came out, it went up against, G-Unit. They came out on the same day. Fifth wanted to go up against him, put the G-Unit album up against Jay to have it like a competition. So now you got Jay-Z and 50 Cent, but it's, 50's a businessman and a hustler, so he knows this is cross promotion. You ain't gonna buy one, you're gonna buy both albums. You're gonna buy G-Unit and you're gonna buy Jay-Z. But if I make it like a competition, he was like, yeah, you lost to Jay-Z. Did I really lose? I sold 3 million records. So it's like, look, artists, as big as they are, they can't make their other artists go. Look at Big Eminem sold 10 million records. How many you think D12 sold? Eminem was on them records. He's in the group. They barely sell 1 million records. It's not easy. Nas sell 2-3 million records. Bravehearts can barely go gold. It's not easy for you to make the whole crew go. So as you can see, it's not an easy thing to do to sell the group like you sell yourself or the individual artist. It's not a given that they're going to go and support the group. Now, 50 was able to make the group as successful as he is. He's just, G-Unit was there, he was there. He was selling like 10, 15 million records, but G-Unit was selling 3 and 4 million records. Lloyd Banks come out and sell 1 million. Buck sold 700,000 records. They all were surpassing Beanie Siegel and Memphis Bleak in record sales. Now, it's not easy to get another project off the ground, but Fifth used that cross promotion with Jay to get out. Now, with the end of Roc-A-Fella, what that really meant was the end, that whole thing with Roc-A-Fella Records, that was ending. The relationship with Dame was already severed. He was done with them. And He wanted nothing to do with him no more. Jay was separating himself, moving with a new team. When he went to Leor and chastised Leor and told him what they talked about in private to Leor about what he didn't like, what Jay told him about him trying to buy the company from him, is give it away to Jay. Leor didn't back down. Because Leor and Dame was cool. They never had a problem. They never really had a problem. Until that happened. Then he takes a camera crew, which was, choked the joke down there to the studio, right? And they switched out the tapes. And once they switched out those tapes, it was a whole different story then. Because now when you switch out the tapes, what you gonna do now? Thanks for the super chats, bro. I appreciate that. Don't forget to hit the like button up. Yeah, so he goes down there to the studio talking about he's a ROC Nation Roc-A-Fella artist. Why are y'all doing the marketing promotion? It's like, they've always done marketing and promotion. What do you mean? They always have a strategy for marketing and promotion. They've always done this, Dane. They did it for the Dynasty album. They did it for all your albums. Def Jam is all a part of the marketing and promotion. What you talking about? So it's like, but for the outside world to hear that when they make this video and they put it out, that's what really rubbed them the wrong way. And they was like, okay, we gonna get this dude up out of here. Now they had to do it the business way of getting rid of him, and taking that plight and getting to that level. And to get to that level took a lot of work, but they gave Dame Dash Records, gave him his imprint. Got Jay his own thing with Roc-A-Fella, ROC Nation. They was able to buy out Dame and Biggs, gave them their money. All the artists got their deals. They were paid out. And they saying, hey, y'all can pick and choose which label y'all want to go. Y'all want to stick with Jay? Y'all want to stick with Dame? Benny Siegel wasn't even there when that went down. They put him, because he was going through his legal troubles, they put him with Dame. He wanted to go with Jay. They put him with Dame. And he was hurt. Jay didn't take him with him. He was hurt. Like, man, you took Bleak. And Kanye had a choice. And Kanye was like, I'm going to go with Jay. And that hurt Dame. Like, this dude don't care about you. This dude wanted you to just make beats for him for the rest of your life. That's it. He didn't care about you, your family, nothing. He wanted you to make beats for him for the rest of your natural born life. The world would have never known Kanye West as an artist. They would have never known how talented you were. I saw that and said, look, we're going to put out this Kanye album. Now, if it sucked, I could put Cam on every song. But, yeah, I can't let you leave and go to another label. This fool was going to let you go to another label. That's how much he didn't believe in you. Then he started to see you doing all that work with Cam and giving them hits. He had to have it. Jay-Z didn't even go and trust Just Blaze like that. Just Blaze would make a track for him and that would be cool. Dipset were the first ones to shout out, yo man, Just Blaze. They would shout him out on the tracks. Then next thing you know, Jay started shouting Just Blaze out on all the records. Yo, Just Blaze, you did it again. Now, what did that detail? Once again, let's take it to the top. Jay-Z tried to sneak and get his own record label at first, called S. Carter Records. Tata was running it, right? It failed. He didn't know what he was doing. Jay-Z still don't know what he's doing. The only reason Roc Nation is surviving now is basically management of artists. That's what they really are. They're not really a record label. They really management of artists. They manage your careers by signing you basically to a 360 deal. And that's really what the department is now, because Jay-Z does not know how to run a record company. He doesn't really know how to run a business. But he wants to act like it and play the face and be, he's the good proxy that you could put in there and say, oh, he's such a businessman. No, he just knows how to play a role. You could trust that he's not going to do anything to embarrass the company or embarrass or go off script. You can trust Jay-Z not to mess up. Yeah, so when Leor Cohen left the company, he was leaving Jay-Z in charge. Like, Jay-Z, you're going to be the president of Def Jam. That's how it was structured. He was leaving and was like, okay, you're going to be the president of Def Jam, and, you got your label, Roc Nation or Roc-A-Fella, whatever. Everybody's just signed to really Def Jam. But you're going to be the president. So while Jay stepped down, he became the president of Def Jam. Leor Cohen left, went to Arista, whatever, to go do what he had to do, right? Here's the real deal. Shakur Stewart was brought in, the guy who brings in all the talent, when he was at LaFace Records. That's the reason you saw all that talent there. He came with L.A. Reid to Def Jam. He comes over to Def Jam, and when he comes to Def Jam, L.A. Reid is really the president of the company. He makes all the decisions. Jay-Z is going to be the acting president of the company. It's just like Vince McMahon and Mr. Tunney. Tunney, the president and CEO of WWE. Jack Tunney. Right, Jack Tunney ran nothing. He was just an actor that they would have go out there and make the decisions. And so Jack Tunney would come out there, but Vince McMahon really ran the shows, this company. So a lot of people, when we were younger, we just thought Vince McMahon was an announcer. That's the way they wanted it to look. L.A. Reid was the president of Def Jam. He made all the business decisions. So, and Shakur Stewart brought in all the talent. Jeezy and Rick Ross was not brought in by Jay-Z. They were brought in by Shakur Stewart. And they thought they were going to be on LaFace Records, and they ended up over on Def Jam because they left the company when Babyface and L.A. Reid split, and they ended up over there. Jay-Z didn't discover any of them. He didn't discover Rihanna. He did. Look, I'm trying to tell you, he didn't bring anyone in. I'm trying to tell you, y'all are learning the truth about what happened. You've been lied to. Shakur Stewart decided he wanted to commit suicide sometime for some weird reason. God only knows the reason why. He got in a fight with Diddy over in Dubai, over Kim Porter. And once he came home, shortly after that, he decided he didn't want to live no more. Took his own life. His girl was there. She verified it. But Shakir Stewart brought all that talent in. L.A. Reid, this guy was pretty much relaxed on the job, do what he wants. And the company was trying to be restructured. And what he was doing was taking Def Jam from a rap company to a new R&B more sound. And bringing in Jeezy and them was going to have the new streets, the new sound. That's what they needed, that new. So when Rick Ross came out, he first blew, then Jeezy came out. This is when Def Jam went into the trap rap. So the trap rap became the new flow. So they was like, okay, T.I.'s already signed somewhere else, but we need to get some of that trap rap money. So we got that. Now we need the R&B artists. We need the new female R&B rap artists. We need to get, the label with some artists that could sing and do this. So they were bringing people in, like Rita Ora, and, Jay liked the way she looked and thought like, okay, I can make that work. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the swagger like us, all that. He stole it from her, and she let it happen because she thinking this is gonna blow her up. And they basically performing her song on stage, and her Paper Planes, and it's just a remix of Paper Planes, and they really screwed her over. Mm-hmm. Well, this is where it gets interesting, people, because this is where it takes a whole new life and takes a whole nother turn. Jay-Z decides he wants to come back to rap. He was like, I'm going to give up this president seat. I don't want to be president of Def Jam no more. Because what he did was take all the budget money that they had for the artists, which was like $20 million, and used it on himself. They had albums come out and he didn't even promote it. LL Cool J album came out and he was like, man, we gave you the money for Paradise. Like, you got like 2 videos out of that album. We gave you a budget. You got Jennifer Lopez on the record. We paid for that. We paid for this. He's like, we did all that. Now, the artists like LL and Method Man, they see Jay-Z as being the face of this thing, right? They see him as the president. So they was like, dude, why you ain't releasing our budget? Why you ain't doing this? Why you ain't doing that? Well, I need Homeboy to promote my project. That's all I'm saying. I didn't put out my best work. And that's what Meth felt like. I put my best work into this album. And it ain't being promoted, It kind of, pissed me off. It's like they throwing me to the side. So a lot of artists were upset. All they works, Redman, Method Man, all that, they just throwing it all to the side. So the script changed, it flipped, and everybody's all up in arms and stunned and surprised. They all jump up, right? So people want some answers. Naturally, people are going to want something to hit. They're going to want to respond or some type of response to what's happening. So they go up to the upper deck level of what they call the Savoy. At the Savoy Theater, or what used to be the Savoy Theater. And they had that conversation about Jay-Z's coming back to rap. He was kind of getting the itch. Like, man, I'm getting the itch to get back out there. So he started freestyling on radio, started like, yeah, I'm finna come out. I got a lot to say. So he ain't have Beyonce no more after all his cheating and goofiness he was doing. So he was like, screw it. I ain't got Beyonce right now. I'm going to go ahead and do my thing, you know. If she really, you know, love me, she'll come back. She'll see it my way. But Jay was trying to start a family when he was retired. She's at the peak of her career. She's not trying to have kids right there, then and there, and all that. She's like, I'm not trying to have kids right now. I'm touring. I got my shows. I got all this. I am not finna sit down right now. So as that goes on, they get DMX out they deal. That was Leora Cohen. That had nothing to do with Jay-Z. X believed that was Jay-Z letting DMX. He recorded the album, right? L.A. Reid, the people that know DMX are no longer in the building. Jay-Z don't know how to tell X, and he ain't gonna tell X he don't make no decisions. That he's just the face. But DMX didn't like L.A. Reid when he walked through the door. And he saw him with these open sandals walking around. He was like, "Who is this? This the new nigga? Oh, we in trouble, dog. Oh, we in trouble. Yeah, we in trouble, dog. No, we in trouble. No. This nigga right here. I just came in here with my mans and them." Oh yeah, X lit up a cigarette in the office, and L.A. Reid's office, and he jumped up. You don't know there's no smoking in here. So he jumped up and got on X. X was, man, I need square. Lit up in the. He's like, no, you can't smoke that in here. Yeah, he did not like DMX. And he's listening to the new album. He's like, tells Jay-Z, I don't know. Because Jay-Z was going off of a, yeah, man, we going to find which one is the single, you know, and, you know, we like it. We're going to find out which one is the single and put it out. And you can start shooting a music video. And X was like, bet. That's what I'm talking about. X did submit an album to them. They didn't want to use it. He comes back and explodes on them because L.A. Reid says, we're trashing this album. This album's not going to sell. And Jay didn't feel that way. Jay felt like it's X. You know, he got his own audience. He knows his people. He's like, okay, let me tell you about DMX. DMX has cost this record label millions of dollars, lawsuits, paying people, animal cruelty. The list goes on and on. Let's say it is a hit. He becomes a big star again. Now it creates, you're throwing more money into the problem. He's going to go right back to getting more cases, more things. DMX and that thing, that has to end. We have, especially from over here. And he owes us so much money in back. We're never going to make that back with him. So that's what they said. Just let him go. Release him from his deal. Let him be somebody else's problem. That was L.A. Reid's decision. And they let DMX, all the money he owed them, everything, off the books. DMX cannot blame them no more. Can't blame Def Jam. That's one stipulation they put in there. You can't blame Def Jam for anything. You know, here it is in your contract, and then you're out there. Jay made it look like he did that for X. He didn't do anything for X. You got to understand, this is the truth. What they show you on TV is not what actually goes on in real life. This is what really goes on behind the scenes. How do you think you know that L.A. Reid's wife, Pebbles, had a fight with Paula Abdul? You wouldn't know that until you heard it from me. And she scared Paula Abdul. Paula Abdul ran out there and jumped on the elevator, got the hell up out of there. Only certain people know this story. People in the industry. She tried that with Whitney Houston. Didn't go the way she thought. That didn't turn out the way she thought that was gonna turn out. She met the real Whitney and where Whitney was from. And Whitney was like, let her go. Don't hold her. Don't hold her. Let her go. Now, y'all will hear more about that on the Patreon, but L.A. Reid is known to be a snake. Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, Pebbles wasn't getting by on that with her. With no Whitney, that wasn't gonna work. I wish they asked Bobby Brown this. Whitney rolled up on a chick he was sleeping with and beat the living hell out of her. Jumped out of the car in sweats and some damn house shoes. She kicked them shoes off and straight gave it to this chick. Now, mind you, at this time, Whitney has Bobby Christina and Bobby other kids. She watching your kids. And you out, you dip out to go damn cheating. Then you gonna buy her all these red roses coming in. Man, it wasn't even like that. But that's a whole nother story. I don't want to get us off track. Let's go back to Jay, right? Jay comes back with Kingdom Come. He came back with the old Yankees hat, the same old Jay-Z flow, but hip-hop had changed. Hip-hop changed dramatically, and he didn't realize how much it changed. He didn't realize that at all. He thinking the same old Jay-Z. No. Hip-hop changed. And because hip-hop changed, the world had changed. Everything around it. Right? So everything around hip-hop has completely changed. And because it completely changed, the music changed, the way people view things has changed, the attitude has changed, the what they eat, what they read, all of it has changed. And they wasn't interested in that album. They looked into it like, this is some like 7 years ago rap. And Jay was like not hot no more. And you know what he did? He blamed Just Blaze. But you didn't want to work with Kanye West because he was like, nah, I'm going to work with Just Blaze. I ain't paying Kanye and all that. I don't need Kanye West. Kanye done got too big now since College Dropout, so I don't need Kanye. I'm Jay-Z. He thought he was bigger. Kanye came out and sold 10 million records. Jay never did that on No Out. So now Kanye is the largest selling album artist on ROC Nation, on Roc-A-Fella history, not Jay-Z. Now, Jay wants to take credit for Kanye, but he's done nothing but take. So Jay goes ahead and comes out. He fires the imitator. None of y'all knew there was a problem with Just Blaze and Kanye West. It was competition. It wasn't like they had beef. But he looked at Just Blaze as an imitator. Just Blaze started trying to emulate Kanye's sound. He was like, oh, I didn't know you wanted that. So the blueprint was nothing but a competition. That's why it's two versions of Girls, Girls, Girls. Who was going to get their version of the song on the album? That's what made the album tight. You had competitive competition between Just Blaze and Kanye West. Just Blaze is like, I didn't know you wanted that. I got those beats that Kanye giving y'all. Y'all want the soul beats? I got them. And Just Blaze had hot beats. So that's why it's two different versions of Girls, Girls, Girls. And then they ended up going with they end up going with what's his name's version? Just Blaze. But I like Kanye West's version too. I'm trying girls out. I'm trying girls out till I find the one for me. I was like, shoot, that song was great. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. A lot of those songs were changed. Now, Blueprint 2 was changed. Like a lot of songs that should have been on the album didn't make the album. And a lot of directions was changed. Like the original version of I Show You How to Do This, Son. That was on the album on Blueprint 2. They took the other song off because it was praising jazz, because that's before they fell out with jazz. I'm like, you could have just changed the bar. You didn't have to get rid of the song. But some of Jay-Z's best songs when he was working on the album didn't make the album. Oh, Bitches and Sisters, that had to make it. That was a hot track. And that's like the only one that made it. That didn't show I show you how to do this, son. All the other songs didn't make the album. So after that flop, he wanted out of Def Jam. He took $20 million and put it into marketing for him. He was on the Super Bowl, Monday Night Football, promoting his new album. His video got Beckham. He's in Paris. He's riding around in cars with all these A-list celebrities that he want to be considered with. So he thought this was going to push him over, knowing that the people you selling your record to, black culture, don't care about no David Beckham and all these other white folks that you care about. They don't care. And right now, 50 Cent, when you come out, 50 Cent is the biggest thing out, right next to Kanye and Lil Wayne. It's the rise of Wayne. So you're coming right on the cusp of the rise of Lil Wayne. So Wayne took your beat, freestyled over it, and made it a hit to show you how you were supposed to be coming on that record. Now, as everybody start to fan out, T.I. go to jail. All this stuff is going on. Jay-Z is out here. Jay-Z is out here scrambling, trying to stay on top and get back in the game. So now he fires Just Blaze. Blames him for the whole Kingdom Come album. Man, that's Just Blaze's fault. Just is like, how is this my fault? I selected the beats as usual. You chose them. You rapped to them. And then this whole time, he's like beefing with Dipset, right? And just Cameron's telling him everything. Because you can't forget the Dipset rise, too. Dipset at this time, they're killing the mixtape game. Dipset is killing the mixtapes. Yes, the mixtapes game was never the same. Dipset was destroying the mixtapes. So I often say to people, I was like, look, y'all can talk all you want. I'm gonna tell you like this. Dipset, they had it on lock. They was rising. So now, here comes Jimmy. You know, we fly ballin'. So Ballin' comes out, it's my turn. Killer Season had just dropped. The CD, the movie. He's dissing Jay-Z. On the record, people are cheering because he's dissing Jay. So the narratives started to come in. So when the narratives started to come in, everybody started changing minds up as to what they want to do, how they want to do it, the whole nine. Now, when I saw everything take like place and flight, you know, going down this evolutionary road, you started to see there were a lot of things changing and taking place. Right. So Jay was making his whole album like he was putting together a tour where he's finna go at it with Dipset. That's gonna get him back hot. He did the Dig a Hole song. That didn't get no heat. So now, dig a hole, bury yourself. You know, that didn't give him no heat. Now he needs heat. And the only way to get this heat is to go out one way. Jay-Z did not sign Nas at all. L.A. Reid signed Nas. I'm sorry, man. I hate to bust your bubble, but no. American Gangster is not overrated. That was Sean Puffy Combs, a.k.a. Diddy, who put that album together. And they tried to market it like, well, these some beats that he had left over that he was going to get a Biggie. And, you know, I said, let me use them, you know, because he was going to give him the Biggie. He didn't know who he can give them to. It's a good lie. It's a good lie. But, you know, they got to create a story for the album, right? Now, here's the thing. Jay-Z had to put out the Black Album, the American Gangster album, and he called it a Jay-Z album. And they made it look like it was the soundtrack for American Gangster. American Gangster didn't have a soundtrack. That's Jay-Z using trickery and foolery. Once again, instead of saying, because if it flops, well, that's just like, that wasn't a real Jay-Z album. That was just, you know, on the theme of for the American Gangster, like the soundtrack. It's not a real Jay-Z album. See? But if it worked and it's successful, Jay-Z's back. Yeah, Puffy was the executive producer of the album. He don't know how to market and do business. Why do you think he kept running to Puffy? He kept running to Puff to say, help me, can you help me, you know, market Rick Ross and Meek Mill? I don't know what to do with them. I'm sorry. I just don't understand this new rap. Diddy said, all right, give him to me. Come on, fat boy. Come on, Meek Mill. You gonna be Tupac. You gonna be Biggie. Yeah. Yeah. I want you to say this thing because Big used to say it all the time. He go, I want you to say that. Open it up like that. Yeah, come on, Big. Come on, Playboy. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I like. Come on. Hit that. I think a big beat. Larry Hoover. That's Puff. All that was Puffy. Not Jay-Z. People in New York was livid. They don't want to hear nobody trying to sound like Big on no album. See, that was naturally Big. You know what I'm saying? Big naturally moved in that way. No, when Big is sitting there with the studio with the headphones on, he just be rocking. Yeah. Your reign on the top is short like leprechauns, cause I crush so-called Willie studs and rapid dons. Get in that ass, quick fast like Ramadan. It's the rap phenomenon. Dun dada, Papa. You got to call me Francis M.H. White. I said, whoa, this dude is on another planet. That dude is on another planet. Shoot. Bigger was a problem. Lyrically, flow-wise, Pac couldn't mess with that. Pac couldn't mess with it. Pac couldn't deal with that. Like, Pac has the energy, the flow, the pattern. Like, Pac don't, it'd be simple, but you feel it. You know, to all his lyrical prowess, Pac would be like, look, I'll smack you with this Mac, with my fofo, bitch ass nigga, and they be, yeah, Pac. They just gonna jump up off the energy and they gonna feel it. Yeah, fuck that fat nigga. They gonna be, that's how they wanna roll. They get all excited, throwing their arms up, everything. Yes, but X energy was based around crack. Tupac energy level was different. If you wonder why X can rap for hours, that was the crack. Why? I'm the biggest Tupac fan they are. See, this is the thing y'all don't understand. I don't hate no Tupac. It ain't like you gotta hate one and like the other. I don't know where y'all get that from. The people that was listening and supporting them liked both artists. They like Biggie, they own Biggie, and they own Tupac. They own hip-hop CDs. You like the music. I had Hit 'Em Up, I had Long Kiss Goodnight, I had it all. Shoot, they used to call me the Tupac when I was so white. I was cut up like Pac. I was looking just like that. I had the bandana on with the West Side when I was on the West Coast. That was me. Your boy was out there with a six-pack, chiseled, cut up like a bag of dope. It was Sino Pac, baby. I was sitting in Hawaii with orange juice, the tangerine, Alizé. That was the drink there, Alizé. Show the pictures. I think they think you fronting. Shoot, man, I gotta go up a flight of steps, look around. Most of this stuff is in photo albums now. See, I come from a different era. Let me see what I got in here. Whoa. I got one photo of me working out down there in the gym. Had my personal workout facility. See, the Sino was cut, boy. Putting the work in every day. This Randy Moss. All kind of stuff in here. I got Randy Moss from the Pro Bowl down in Hawaii. The Freak. My ex-girlfriends. That's a classic one. Let me see if I got something just in here from Hawaii. Yeah, all this is scattered. Mardi Gras. I don't know where none of my stuff is. Wow. Look, Cito, I told you, Cito was the man. This is crazy. Some of these photos I can't show you. They had white girls on a leash. She had a leash around her neck. It was a wild party, like a Diddy party. One girl had a leash on her neck. I never seen nothing like that. I had to take a picture of it. I was like, dude, they taking the white girl with the leash on her neck? I took pictures of it. This was inside the Playboy Mansion. That's what was happening here. This is inside of it. This is the Playboy party. I had a private invite. I wasn't even supposed to take pictures. I got pictures of it. So that's in here somewhere in this vault. Oh my God. Some of this stuff I can't put on. It's a lot of naked chicks and boobs. I think that's why they're in here. Yeah, that's Cino back in the day. Oh yeah, Cino boxing, boy. Cino Jones. See how cut the Cino was, bro? That ain't no joke. Look how cut up the Cino was, boy. Would knock you out quick, fast, in a hurry. I was Cino Pop. I was in great shape. Great physical condition. So who did you think I identified more like, Tupac or Biggie? I was more. He's like Pac. I was mini Pac with the bandana out there. They ain't never seen nothing like me. Worked out, chiseled. This was Mardi Gras, the celebrity dancer. She's in Hollywood. She's probably gonna be on a lot of people's stands. She was working with a lot of people in the industry. But I'm gonna let that happen the way it did. This woman too. She's from New York. She used to date some famous rappers, buddy. It's a New Yorker, B. Cino was blasted by this time. Look at that, boy. Get a bunch of Asian love. See, I'm international. Women love me in every nationality. Mm-hmm. Oh man, there's plenty of wild photos in there. But as you can see, y'all saw some stuff y'all ain't supposed to see because I went in that trunk. I haven't been in that trunk in years. Where my big chain at? I got rid of it. I didn't need to see that chain no more. Yeah, I mean, when you were like me, you were a tower of power. I was young, fast, strong, indestructible. It was nothing I couldn't do. But I did not need the chain no more. But believe me, I walked around with a 40-inch chain around my neck and nobody took nothing. Believe that. Cino Park, baby. West Side! But anyway, man, it's been cool rocking with y'all for these 2 hours. I'm going to get up out of here and get ready for this Diddy trial. Break all that down. Defense been roasted me on that stand. She was already exposed last time. They just continued with the roasting. So I'm going to do that in a minute. Let me just get ready.